life is changing very quickly, and I just wanted to make a couple things, you guys aware of a couple things, bro. So I'm noticing we have neighbors, and they have invested in a property, and they've kind of redid the entire thing, and they set it up for Airbnbs. And I'm watching different families go inside the apartment, the duplex or whatever it is, and I'm just observing. Nothing creepy. I'm just watching the way they live and
It's
who
creepy,
it is.
man.
It is pretty creepy. All right, whatever. But anyway, I'm noticing a trend, and it seems to be bigger families, and I'm questioning whether or not, like, why they're doing an Airbnb as opposed to trying to afford a mortgage or something more beneficial. But it dawned on me that even in my own experiences, I've always tried to come up with the temporary fixes for everything, and I can understand how they can consider that the best temporary fix for their situation, because they can afford that for a couple of days. It's easy money to be able to afford for a couple of days, but in reality, you're only spending tons more money trying to come up with these temporary fixes. Is that you being a timeout?
No, it's you said it's more efficient, but it's actually 2x, two times
2x.
what you would be spending.
Yes, exactly. So like you gotta bite the bullet, and most of these bad situations are all self-created, and it's better to just like, I don't know if Mr. Leverage has already covered this in any other videos, but it's really important to attack all financial instabilities head on. You can't let them. My dad had some advice that we kind of use in different aspects, but he said you can't let problems overhang. They just keep building up and keep building up until you take care of the initial one that began all the rest of them in the first place. So instead of going out and getting the Airbnb, save that money and try to use it in better ways. There's tons of better ways to use it, So this is Mr. Equity popping in. Just wanted to let you know my observations and whatnot, and yeah, I'm learning thanks to this guy.
One thing that I can say about that is that the biggest takeaway from that is not a financial thing, as crazy as it sounds. It's that you took a perspective and you learned from it.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, ever since I started with your course, I can't live a different way.
I mean, you'll notice that like you'll just different things, how people open doors, like what demeanor they're in, and then how like, if you're at a store and someone's picking out snacks,
right,
like what type of person they are, and you can base that off yourself.
I also wanted to say one more thing. This system that has been created is not for an everyday person who doesn't pay attention to the little tiny fine print details. So let that be known and change that aspect of your everyday life. Go in and read the stuff that you didn't want to read. That's what's separating them from you, the winners from the losers, my guy. It's little hard work. It's hard work in the right places. The poor person already works harder than the rich person. Already. That's known. That's easy. That's common knowledge. The hard workers are poor people. You gotta work hard in the right areas. That's where I'm coming from.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, dude. The hardest workers are the unfortunate of people.
Yeah, it's sad. That's the way the system was created. They're comfortable with being that way.
Wait, get back in here.
Do all the extra stuff.
Well, that's what I was saying. People who are financially oppressed might feel some type of way, and they might try and regurgitate that anger, that frustration, anything that they feel toward a situation by spending more money that they already worked their ass off for. So you create this pattern that just keeps revolving and pretty much doesn't stop, because last week you felt financially oppressed. You want to get some soda. You want to do all these crazy things, go out and get drinks, make yourself feel better. And then the next week, the same thing happens. You're working even more hours. Oh, we need you again. Someone called out. You know what I'm saying?
You have to say yes. You need that money. Now what?
So, well, you can't just say yes, because we talked about earlier, the more money you have, if you have bad habits, your bad habits are only going to enhance. Can you speak from personal experience on bad habits?
Yeah, I can. I mean, I don't know how extracurricular you'd like me to get here, but I have noticed, and stuff. Oh man, so basically, the more that you have, the more you use, and that could be in many different aspects. I'm gonna give you one example. It's a dog. So one thing about dogs. All right. Anyway, so you fill the dog's food bowl, and you give it one kibble. Dog's gonna eat that one kibble, and he's gonna want more. Then you give a dog an entire bag of dog food. That dog is not gonna stop. He's gonna kill that entire bag of dog food. That's the same ideology that humans operate with in terms of bad habits. So maybe eating isn't a bad habit, but excessive eating is, and you'll just continue to exponentially grow your bad habits until you break them with more money. So you must break the bad habits before earning more money, unless you want to just have worse bad habits.
Speaking of food and finances, now this is a pretty extreme case, but this progress that this process that I've created has stemmed from 100% efficiency and 100% survival. Speaking of food, for the last 2 months, my brother and I have been eating pretty much 1 or 1.5 times a day.
Yeah.
And in turn, it's gonna sound crazy and some out of pocket stuff, but we've had to we don't keep our AC as low because our body doesn't use as much energy to freaking cool down because our metabolism is slowed down. Like we're in this
only using as much as we intake.
Right, we're in this state of survival, and previously throughout the past 2 months, every time I wake up is when I get the most done. I take a nap before work, and then I go into work, and then I eat. So pretty much my body has been using what I've been storing up until the bad habits were stopped. Now my habits are based on efficiency and how much I can get done due to my circumstances, which if you time it right after you sleep, you're full of energy because you broke down all the food that you had the night before, and it's just cut down a lot of the spending and boosted up the efficiency.
Yeah, you need to ask more of your body. You don't need to ask more of your money, you know?
And this comes from consumerism.
Weird. Sounds weird. Yeah, it sounds weird.
It sounds weird, but I mean, I lost a lot of weight. I don't know if it's healthy, but hey, you know what I'm saying? Bad habits were good.
The thing is, we're blessed enough to be young enough to not really worry about health, you know? So our genes are, pretty decent. We're both not overweight or underweight, we're pretty fit physically, and
simply put, we're taking advantage of our age.
Yes.
Okay.
To benefit in financial gains. We're not trying to harm ourselves because we're not eating enough nutrients. Like, we have an apple right in front of us now. Like, we're getting the nutrients, we're just not excessively overdoing it because we are more important. Finances are more important than excessive ice cream or dulce de leche fucking Dunkin' coffee. Like, it's useless. It doesn't make sense. Go get a coffee machine. I bought a coffee machine from the dollar store for $12. Why? Because I'm a fucking winner. I don't need Dunkin' every day. Why do you need Dunkin' every day? Dunkin' needs you every day. They got you brainwashed. You run on Dunkin'. No, you don't. You run on fucking oxygen.
Yeah.
God.
We were talking last night about how, like, humans never had AC.
No.
Humans, like, picked a freaking berry. They made their spear. They're like, oh, crap, I'm hungry. But I'm, like, too hungry. I can't operate. Let me take a nap. Let me go to sleep tonight. Make my little fire. They wake up in the morning with
ready to fucking
with
kill.
the fucking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
With big nuts. Anyway,
Yeah.
They go kill a squirrel, right? With that mentality, they eat this squirrel. The next day, they're going to catch 2 squirrels.
That squirrel will fuel them enough to go catch another fucking squirrel.
Right? Humans never had this stuff. So now consumerism is a disease that was manufactured by, the first top dog. We're going to call him Mr. Consumer Producer.
Consumerist.
He's the top one. And we live in a capitalist economy, and that basically stems the market to go buy shit because you think you need it. You don't need
because
it.
Homie said so. You don't even know Homie.
Oh my, it's crazy to think about. We humans never had this stuff.
Never.
In a apocalyptic.
And now that you have it, you can't not have it. You can't operate without it.
Right.
Put your cell phone down for a day. Try it. It's weird. Everything you cannot in this game of finances. You have to be uncomfortable. Like myself. Oh my God! I was on an air mattress for 6 months.
Tell them about
choice. By choice, every day I would wake up, my back would hurt. I did commercial landscaping at the same exact time as working at a restaurant. I had 2 jobs, sleeping on a fucking air mattress, eating mac and cheese cups for dinner. When I was lucky.
Dude, you might have had it worse, but I had it more worse, dude.
Yeah, but if you didn't create this environment for me, I would have never have grown into what I am at this exact moment. And I'm still not shit. Like, there's still way more room to improve. I just had to eliminate all of the bad habits before earning more money. That way my habits did not grow with the amount of money. So I want to say thank you.
That's true.
The people really should pay attention to those two aspects right there. Earning more money is never the end all be all of your problems. You must kill the bad habits.
Strive to be better, but it's not the end all be all. You have to recognize bad habits and the value of your money. Man. Also, what the fuck was I gonna say? You just kept going. Yeah, my brother and I came from a pretty weird financial background. We're currently, can I say that?
Yeah, hit him with it.
Oh, put the headset on. I can hear you now.
This is perfectly like personal anecdotes. This is great.
Yeah, so I mean, we're coming from a pretty crazy financial background, in a bad way, and yeah.
Can I backpack off that?
Yeah.
So we always had enough. My family growing up, I'm older than he is, obviously, but my parents, we've always had enough money to. It was never a lot of money. It was just always enough money to get us the things that we wanted.
No, that's false. He doesn't know. They ran credit ever since we were little babies. We had every little thing growing up.
Okay.
We lived in a pretty average home. We lost like 2 homes, or was it one home?
It was hurricanes.
It was a hurricane 1, then the second one. That's when they downsized. Yeah, that was on them. Anyways, we had all the new catcher's equipment, all
Xboxes,
the new Legos,
computers,
games. If he
everything.
got something, I got something. If I got something, he got something. But life was good. Me as a young kid, I'm like, where's this money coming from? You know.
It was never an issue.
Yeah, I don't know if TJ had the same. Miss Equity had the same thoughts, but I was like, wait a second. As a little kid, I realized this. I'm like, where is this money coming from? Because also, unfortunately, my mom lost her job when I was younger, and I think that's where it came from. Like, oh crap, maybe a little bit insecurities. I'm not gonna be able to provide for my kids, but we still have these habits of getting them stuff. Like, they both had decent paying jobs, and then when my mom lost her income, it's like, how am I gonna provide for these kids? And I think that's when the credit cards started coming in. Like, oh, here's everything, but it was always ran on credit. Now that I'm 22 years old and, leveraging my financial freaking things, I can go back and pay my mom's debts.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, that's like, if I gave you the same business freaking investment, would you take it? I'm paying. Here's
the proposal.
We're paying over $5,000 in debts to get back $800 a month. If I tell someone on the outside, why are you paying your parents' debts off? That's not your problem. It's like, if I give you this business opportunity to pay $5,000, but for the rest of 30 years, you got $800 a month, would you take it? Also, this is a great life example, because what if a blatantly obvious opportunity passed you by, but you couldn't recognize it the way I'm recognizing it now, because I'm paying off something that's going to give me money in return. It's a great life example of an opportunity that might pass you. It's unfortunate, but it's taught us a lot.
I have one reason as to why you would not take that offer. You're scared of debt. Don't be scared of debt.
Wait, hold on. Don't be scared of debt. Oh, yeah.
Tackle that shit.
Okay, he's saying don't be scared of debt don't be scared of debt as in, don't get into debt, but fight
if you're
debt.
in it,
right,
get out of it. Simple.
Right, but
the first week I got hired at my new job that I'm working at, I explained to my colleague next to me, hey, this first check that we're in we get paid bi-weekly, and we're in the middle of the first pay period, so we have to wait 3 weeks, which is actually not a bad situation, because I also have another job that I'm working, which fills in the gaps more or less. So I explained to him, we got hired together at the same time, and he said, I said, my first check is going to my debt. And he said, wow, he's older than I am. I'm 25 years old. He's older than I am. He looked at me, puzzled. He said, damn, you're a good man. I haven't even started that yet. Brother, if you're not starting it at later than 25, you're going to have to work that much harder to kill it off. You know what I mean? You might as well cut your credit cards now.
Why can't you blame him though?
I don't. That's just the everyday person's life. No one is, like I said, reading the fine details and actually consistently attacking them.
Why are they not reading the fine details? That's what I'm saying. Why I'm getting to this point of why aren't they?
I can't answer. I can't speak for them.
Because we live in a capitalist economy, bro.
And you don't have to. Yeah, exactly. You're comfortable without it already. So why would you?
Yeah. Okay. So
why would you change? Humans are creatures of habit.
Right.
They don't like changing.
You're not going to change that habit. Why? Because if you have a running machine, let's say your car, you're not into modding cars. Let's say you don't know what you're doing. You're not going to change this machine.
That's our neighbor's Bugatti.
It's funny, I'm talking about cars. Fucking quiet! Anyways, you're not going to change this working machine. Same thing for you. If you have bad habits that you can get up and go to work every single day, your freaking life, and work to the year, you're not going to change that machine, right? Just like the capitalist economy. They're fucking you in the end because they're not teaching you about economics and money and debt.
But it's winning for them, so they're not changing
They're not changing it. So it's up to the individual and the participants to change so they can get...
It's winning for them, so they're not changing it, and it's working for you, so you're not changing
I like
it.
that, dude.
Fucking change it.
Right.
Yesterday you said tomorrow. Fucking do it.
Wow, yesterday is tomorrow if you think about it.
Today never comes, or tomorrow never comes, so is today.
We live in a simulation.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Apple. Get yourself an apple. Start your fucking day.
Dude, another thing I want to talk about is I learned recently is that in this financial training, they told me to use...
He came over in financial training pissed.
Dude, I wanted to freaking...
Strangle, dude.
Dude, it was so bad. Anyways, they said to utilize 30% of your credit card. They said you should utilize 30%.
Mr. Leverage, what's that even mean?
Okay, so when you utilize credit, that is the end of your statement balance that you carry over to the next month, which we've been told all our lives. Use up to 30%. Mm-hmm. Use up to 30%.
Pay the minimum.
Okay, so that is what my family has done up until I've been 22 years old, until like tomorrow when I pay this shit off. It is such a bad thing to go by. Why not pay your credit? Why don't they tell us that that is your borrowing power that you pay off every month? It is absolutely ridiculous to me. Like, if you're in a different situation, you are in charge of your finances and you know what's the repercussions of using 30% is, but you need to do it. Like, yes, utilize 30% of your debts. And then I asked this financial training person, like, what if I only use my credit card? Now, this lady, very nice, she was very awesome, whatever, but she told me that you need to pay off all your debts and you need to stop using your credit card. I took so much offense to that because at the point I didn't know what utilization meant, that you carry over 30%. That looks good to the credit bureau. But utilize 0% of your credit, only use your credit card, and pay it off. There's perks and benefits that no one else could achieve that if you do that for the rest of your life. These motherfuckers piss me off, man. Fuck
Imagine they're training someone on finances, and this is how they're training them. That's common knowledge. That's the system working for you, winning for them. They're not changing it. It's simple. It's like 2 + 2 will always equal 4. It's the same story here in finances. So just pay attention, kill debts, get with it, start winning.
We are not average people. We've come from such a negative circumstance that it's pretty extremist views. I'm not going to lie. We've been eating once a day. To me, finances are so important because essentially we've been living a fake life our whole life. Imagine everything that we had growing up was paid with credit.
But not paid off.
So, like, what are we really worth? Like, what do I, I have this nice, awesome gear, and all my friends are like, oh, shit, nice gear. And then now I'm 22 years old, and I realize, like, we never even owned this stuff. Like, that was never even me. So I think I just figured out, literally just now, why this is so important. It's because, like even my, anything throughout the day is just, like, what are you worth, And growing up, I was...
Imagine... So, go ahead.
To everyone, money isn't this significant because they were grown up with financially stable parents who have said, make money and save 10% for the rest of your life, which is perfectly fine. I'm not against that. I'm just saying we were not brought up from that circumstance.
I'm going to add on to, like, a whole entire life aspect kind of thing. So, in order to be a respected human being, in order to be a man of class, this and that, in order to be well off with finances, you have to be responsible. You have to be disciplined. You have to be so in tune with the amount actual dollar means. Like this piece of paper has physical value. If you don't understand how much this piece of paper is, then you're lost already. So with you got to be careful with credit cards too, because I don't know how he feels about this, but this is how I feel about it. Credit cards make it easier to spend money. It doesn't have face value. You can't physically, you know what I mean? It's all it is a swipe, a simple swipe. Swipe, 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 tap, 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 easy. Cash App, boom. Venmo, boom. PayPal, it doesn't matter. Credit card, it's too easy to spend the money on. So if you're having trouble with that, kind of break it down. Try to get your hands on some cash and actually understand the hourly value that this generates, the amount of, stuff. It's different. It's a whole different thing. And you have to be responsible in a sense to where you have to make good life decisions to enable you in your future to make good life decisions. So I worked at a restaurant for a lot of my life, and there's always situations inside the restaurant that I love to talk about. So there's a gentleman just turned 22, 23. He's with his girlfriend, I'm assuming. I didn't see any rings, and a child. So I already know that, maybe they're not in the best financial situation because they're young, they're not married, and they have a kid. And I don't know how their life is outside of that, but this is the anecdote that I want to explain. The gentleman orders a Long Island iced tea, top shelf. I explained to him, sir, the top shelf is a little more expensive than the regular one. There's 5 top shelf liquors that go inside of a Long Island. He's like, oh, no worries, let's do it, run it up. So I get him the Long Island, and then he drinks it, chugs it. Basically, it's I already need to refill it. And I ask him, may I refresh your beverage? He's like, yeah, go ahead. I loved it. It was great. The bartender did amazing. Then as I'm bringing the second Long Island iced tea, I set it on the table. Then he questions, wait, how much is the Long Island iced tea? Don't be that guy. You have to be in tune. It's listed on the menu. The top shelf one is in a little italic. It's smaller than it's not in the big print because they don't want you to read that, bro. They don't want you to try a little bit harder to understand where your money's going. You know what I'm saying? That's my job to kind of upsell and this and that. But I'm going to be dead ass honest with y'all. In the last 6 months, upselling does not get you any more money because most of the time, the person that you're upselling is already on a fixed budget and they're not going to go over that regardless of how much money they spend. So your tip is not going to get bigger based on your bill. It actually will get smaller because you upsold them and now you're running into your tip money. So you got to really be frugal about going out and spending it this way, that way, top shelf, sirloin and shrimp. No, you're not a fucking king. You're a normal human fucking being. Go to the wholesale grocery store, get your bag of rice, get your can of beans, and fucking enjoy it, dude. You know what I mean? You're not King Tut. You're not. You might think you are. You might be set up that way. You're wired that way emotionally and all that kind of stuff, but you're only kicking yourself in your ass. You know what I mean? It just gets worse and worse and worse. Now you have less money because you spent more money. Now you're just going to make another bad decision because you have less money. It's a trail. It's a trickle-down trail. We call it the snowball effect. Like in the game of Rust, you start off with a rock, you kill a dude with a pistol, now you got a pistol. So you gotta really.
Except it works backwards. You have a pistol and the guy killed you with a rock.
Yeah, that's what you just did with the Long Island iced tea, big dog. So you gotta really take everything into account, bro. So it's very serious. We're laughing about it now because we've lived through it, but this is serious stuff, and everybody does it. It's not him, it's not me, it's literally everybody. It's general pop.
One thing he was saying about physical money is like I understand what he's talking about because if you spend $8 on something that you didn't need, if you minimum wage $8, you literally
That's
worked
an hour.
Right, an hour you just worked for like something that you just bought. On the other side, once you realize how powerful and fragile money is, he said it's easy for a debit card and credit card. It is, but on the other side, once you gain control, it takes more discipline than money to use it because now there's benefits and more repercussions.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
There's no repercussions of spending cash money.
Right.
But if you, let's say there's a benefit on your Amex app and you're like, oh shit, I got to spend $300 at Off-White and I'll get $50 off. Well, do you need a pair of Off-White shoes? Like I'm sure.
Probably not. It's
going to, it doesn't benefit you in any way. Okay, so now you have to pay $250 credit on something you didn't need. So it takes more respect and discipline to use a credit card. But if you can handle that plus the benefits, that is the other side of understanding how fragile
that they don't
is.
want you to know.
They don't want you to know that.
So there's always two sides to every story, and then you get mine. So I'm gonna break it down for you guys. This is Mr. Equity. That's Mr. Leverage. Mr. Equity grew up in the streets a little bit more than Mr. Leverage did. So I'm gonna give you the real.
I'm a saint, man. I'm a child of God, really. just to keep it $1.50.
But I look at things more of face value, like, you know. So
he's materialistic.
I used to be. Now I'm in a fucking gym shorts. I got no socks on my feet. I'm like a.
He's got sandals on.
I'm like a prophet. Like a broke, wise prophet.
Anyways.
I'd rather that, though.
Anyways, what he's trying to say is that, you know what I'm saying? You grow up in them streets, cuz. You know what I'm saying? I need somebody to save me out of them streets, cuz. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Anyway,